Look, man, life is hard. And if you're trying to be the best or improve in any way, then it's even harder. It's supposed to be hard. That's where the glory of victory lives. I constantly used to second guess myself and consider giving up altogether. But then seemingly out of nowhere, everything came together for me. Why did this happen? What happened? What changed? Here are the 12 hidden signs that you might be closer to becoming a top 1% man than you actually realize. Or maybe it's the opposite in your case, and you're actually further away than you think. Look, these are not just from my life alone, but also from the lives of the other top men in my network who experienced basically the same exact things just before they made it big as well. So pay attention, lock in, watch all the way to the end of this video and see how many of these items you can check off your checklist. Number 1, partying seems lame. I remember how epic it used to feel when I was rolling up to a high-end nightclub with my bros. And it was like, the adventure is about to begin, baby. We're going to get drunk, we're going to talk to some girls, get some phone numbers, and for sure, we're going to create some wild stories that we're going to tell tomorrow as we're all hung over and feeling that pain. Man, I used to literally live for those Friday and Saturday nights. But what I realized as I started to get momentum in other areas of my life, I started seeing gains in the gym. I started getting traction with my businesses. I finally had attractive girls who were into me and actually wanted to hang out without me pressuring them. At that point, the nightlife, it just started to feel a bit pointless. It's like I've been there. I've done that. I know what that life is about. I don't need to be surrounded, nor do I want to be around drunk people for 3 hours in the dark. It's just, I'm good on that. If you can relate to this, that likely means you're starting to accumulate that momentum in other areas of your life as well. Number 2, your parents trust your decisions. Some of you may know, some of you may not. I was in the cannabis space for a long period of my life. It all started helping my mom grow random plants around the house that she struggled with growing at around 10 years old for me. My willingness to want to do things the best pushed me to research and read up on the plants to grow the best plants possible. This is exactly what happened. I ended up growing a massive garden on the side of my childhood home at the time that random people used to stop and ring the doorbell to check out or take pictures of. At 12 years old, my older brother gave me some cannabis seeds to grow. I fell in love with the challenge of perfecting this very hard plant. At 16, I remember telling my mom I was going to grow cannabis for the rest of my life, which by the way, was very illegal at the time in Florida. She broke down in tears. I'll never forget it. She was worried I would go to prison. I continued on, and this hobby grew to a full-fledged business that I shared with nobody until I was busted by law enforcement in 2009 and made the front page of the newspaper. At the time, I had become one of the largest known cultivators in the state of Florida. I was looking at 25 years to life in prison. Because of that, I finally got it. It's normal when we decide to create our own path in life that our parents get a little bit uneasy about. They're like, what do you mean you're not just going to get a salary job and work your way up the corporate ladder until you die? They just don't want us taking unnecessary risks, ending up in a bad situation. So looking back on my life, the moment when my parents started to trust my risky decisions, that didn't happen right away. When I quit college to pursue cannabis, they for some reason just trusted in me. I decided to move to California where it was legal to participate in the legal cannabis industry, where I didn't know anyone, for example, and they just trusted me. That was an early sign. You know, they sensed it before I did, that I was on the right path, which I was. I became one of the largest cannabis producers at the time in California before selling my empire in early 2020. So my question for you is, how do your parents feel about your risks or the decisions that you're thinking about making? 3, you no longer sense hostility from other guys. In my early 20s, I used to always play out these imaginary conflicts with other guys in my head. Like, what would happen if I'm at the bar and I get shouldered and he looks at me wrong? What am I going to do or say back to him so he doesn't disrespect me? Or when I would meet a new guy, I'd be thinking, you know, I don't like this guy. This guy thinks he's better than me. And the funny thing is, even though I used to do that, now it just seems kind of strange to me. Like I wondered why I even did this. At some point, I stopped playing these mind games and comparing myself to other guys. Does he have more money than I do? Maybe my girl's hotter than his though. When you start to compete against yourself instead of other men, now you know when I'm meeting people, I'm just bringing warm emotions and trying to connect with them. Well, that means that you're starting to focus 100% on your growth and your situation. And if that's where your mindset is and you're no longer comparing yourself, guess what? That means that the results are going to follow very soon. Number 4, your anxiety is different. So right now, I want you to think what stresses you out. Seriously, what stresses you out? For me, it used to be the wild variety of things like, dang, why isn't this girl texting me back yet? What should I even be doing with my life, bro? Am I looking any more jacked than I did last month? Man, I wonder if those guys are still talking trash about me right now about the other night. Then what would I do? Well, I would try and hide from these intrusive thoughts by scrolling on Instagram or maybe rubbing one out or playing some video games on my phone. But at some point, my anxiety shifted. It's still there. I think it's impossible not to have some anxiety. But now my anxiety is what more can I be doing today to make sure that I continue to crush it tomorrow? I feel like I haven't done enough today. What else do I need to be doing? Those thoughts, they drive me to compete every single day. So my question for you is, what is your anxiety saying to you now? 5, there's more pain in your life. This is the messed up thing about self-improvement. It actually increases our pain level because now I'm out there, right? Approaching girls maybe and getting rejected. That hurts. Now, when I slip up and say I fap, I feel like a complete loser. When I let an opportunity pass me by, it sticks with me and it haunts me. And I'm thinking, man, never again will I miss an opportunity like that. Versus in the past, I'd be like, oh, it's no big deal, whatever. Now, you might be aware that your money and your career is not where you want it to be. It's painful to be aware of that, to admit that. So if you're feeling more pain in your life lately, that's a good sign. That means you are improving. That means you are not hiding from the pain of defeat. You are growing from the pain of making a constant decision to be something incredible. But at the same time, this is what makes self-improvement so challenging. It can feel impossible at times. Like I'm not going to be able to stick with this long enough until I see results, man. The pain is too much. It's not even worth it. It's not going to happen for me, bro. Now, I'm trying to improve and I feel alone and I'm facing all this pain. That pain is necessary to win. It shows you are growing. When you don't know how or what, that's good. It will come to you. All that matters is you made and continue to stick to a decision and the end result, regardless of how you are gonna get there. Number 6, people are more reserved around you. I'm not sure about you, but for me, it used to feel like people would just walk all over me sometimes. I was an insignificant part of the conversation. I would have to react to them, maybe even defend my position, if they even acknowledged me or cared to think what I said even. Let's be real though. Back then, I had a weaker presence. If you have a weaker presence, it's natural that people are going to be less worried about you. You are kind of just there. But the same way, if I'm talking to someone that I respect, I'm really going to listen to them. I want to hear their perspectives and their opinion. They can probably change my mind about something. Guess what? People will treat you the same way if they truly respect you. Even people who've never met you before. We all can kind of instantly recognize a man's level. Maybe it's in his eye contact. Maybe it's his body. Maybe it's his style, maybe. Maybe it's the way he speaks. Maybe it's just the way he moves through a room and demands with his presence. But there's something that signals to us, oh, I gotta listen up to this guy. So if people are still not treating you like that, well, that might mean you got more work ahead of you than you thought. 7, it's getting harder to relate. At some point in my life, when I became competent, I realized just how incompetent 90% of the population is. Most people, you were sitting there talking to them, they're complaining about their life while doing absolutely nothing to change it. They are not even trying to critically think about it. So now, whenever I notice someone complaining or speaking about their life in this powerless way, they don't have the ability to impact it, I tune out or I call them out. I can't really relate. The way I think now is if there's something I'm not happy about, all right, cool, it sucks, but what am I going to do about it? That's all I'm thinking about. What am I going to do about it? How am I going to fix it? I'm constantly thinking about a solution. So can you relate to what I'm saying, or are you still complaining? 8, new experiences seem exciting. I used to have my routine. I enjoyed the things I enjoyed, just like most of you do. I just wanted to do more of those things. I wanted to lift weights, eat crappy food, watch TV, do nothing. But when something new came up that maybe I could try, I'm all good. I would shy away from it. Things out of my comfort zone, learning anything new that would be cool or improve me in some way. I would make excuses, take myself out of it. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Can you relate to this feeling? Now, be careful. It's easy to cope here and tell yourself, no, I'm just locked in. I'm just locked in, Jay. I don't need to distract myself with these new things. But if I'm being honest, what I was doing was hiding. I was hiding from the unknown, hiding from the fear, until I wasn't. Because at some point, my confidence had grown. Now, these new things were like challenges. Like, oh, I'm not sure about that, but bring it on. Let's see what I'm made of. Whether it's traveling to new places, trying out new hobbies, or diving into a tough conversation even. Anything that kind of tests me, I'm excited about. So if you've noticed that you are more open to trying new things lately, well, pay attention. That's a big hidden sign that your confidence is grown massively. 9, you have less friends. The harsh truth is that I used to spend a lot of time with friends, like I'm sure a lot of you have done or still do, because it was a convenient, easy way to pass the time without being alone. We could sit there, talk about the past, the good times, and it was more comfortable. It was easier than sitting alone and reflecting or trying to create something or to be more productive with my time. But what you are going to notice is that as your time grows more valuable, because you have made the decision to be better no matter what, and you're using it as a resource rather than looking at it as just something to pass by to get to tomorrow, naturally you're going to start avoiding passing the time by just hanging out with other guys. So if you started to notice, you feel almost a bit guilty inside in these environments, well, that is a strong signal that you are valuing your time and yourself more than you did before. And with that mindset, that's a game changer. Success is inevitable at that point. Number 10, the dopamine just ain't hitting anymore. Dopamine was life, bro. Like, what do I gotta do next to get my hit? That's how I used to operate, like most of you do. So I was always pursuing something pointless like a girl, for that chase, for that win, that feel-good moment. I would be wanting to sleep in or just chill on the weekends and eat junk food and watch Netflix. It felt good. And if you think about it, when my life was not advancing at all, well, naturally, I'm gonna chase dopamine because then I can at least feel good. We wanna feel good. And if we are not feeling good by growing, well, we're gonna feel good by doing whatever else we can do that's right there. But maybe lately you're starting to think bigger than that. And when you start to think bigger than dopamine, doesn't mean that much anymore. Now the real win for me is seeing some growth. The real win is making sure that all my businesses and real estate investments grow more in 2025 than in 2024. The real one for me is growing this YouTube channel to see how big I can grow it. It's a very challenging thing for me and I love it. The real win is sharing meaningful moments with the closest people to me. I'll pass on the dopamine, but beware. This is a transition. So right now, maybe you're starting to feel like those dopamine activities, I still like them, but they're not hitting the same as they used to, and it's tough. Because at first, your life just feels a little bit more dull and empty, but it actually means that you are on the right track and you're starting to focus more on the big wins. Speaking of wins, number 11, you are no longer sharing your wins. So when I started my business, I remember telling people I'm an entrepreneur. That title just sounded so good back then. I'm an entrepreneur, and I knew that I was technically ahead of most people my age at the time. So whenever I met someone new, another guy or girl, I would let them know, what do you do for work? Oh, cool. I'm an entrepreneur. I own this and do this. My revenue is like, bam. So my question for you is, what is your biggest win that you are the most proud of? And when is the last time you told someone about it? At some point, I realized the average person is not really experiencing that many new wins. So it's kind of meaningless to brag about these wins, and instead, I'm just going to be focused on getting the next win of my life and proving to myself what I'm capable of. It's more important to me to get to the next win than to tell you about my last one. If we're going to hang out, let's just chill and connect. No need to turn this into a measuring competition. Number 12. Girls are no longer your motivation. So I'm curious to know from 1 to 10, how hot is your current girl? Back when I was a lower level guy in my eyes, from time to time, I could get lucky and I could pull a really attractive girl, and that made me proud, bro. That was the motivation. That's why I was working. But as I started to level up in different areas of my life, I realized luck mattered way less, because women have a sixth sense where they can immediately tell a guy's current level and his trajectory in life. So when you are starting to level up, you're going to start to notice warmer reactions from more attractive girls. No, they're not going to be throwing themselves at you, taking their panties off at the gym and shaking their ass around in your face. But they are going to be more warm and receptive when you speak to them at that point. I started to become aware. Okay, I no longer have to be afraid of dying alone or with some ugly girl that I settled for because I didn't do the work. And then naturally, my focus started to shift to business instead of women. Just to be clear, this is not some screw women, I'm focusing on myself, king, some type of cope. No, this is just a natural shift from external to internal motivation. Now the goal is growth itself rather than growth so that I can get hot girls. Basically what I'm saying is, if you still feel like you gotta get really lucky to pull an attractive girl, keep working. Now speaking of hotter girls, if you wanna be able to lock one down and actually keep her interested, then comment yes in the comment section, and I'll make a video about how to date the 9s and the 10s. You see, you need to move a little bit differently versus with average girls. While you're at it, click down there to subscribe, as I drop 2 new videos every single week and you don't want to miss them. And I'll talk to you on the next video.